Hey, how's it going today? Two videos in a row by myself here, getting back into the groove of YouTube and presenting some beautiful songs from some great artists. I've played, like I said, so many different kinds of music. Yesterday was heavy metal with Iron Maiden and Writing on the Wall. So today we're going acoustic and we're going way back in time to the Eagles and a very, very well-known song called Lion Eyes. And there's also Take It Easy, which is a good one. What I like about Lion Eyes is there's slight variations off the common chords that are used in Take It Easy. In Take It Easy we use G major a lot, same in Lion Eyes. But with Lion Eyes we're also going to like G major 7, we're bringing in an A minor 7, we're bringing in like an F major 6, and a few different chords that really help the creative ability or expand the awareness of music and the relationship of notes to chords, which give extra melody. Ooh. What we're starting off with is Lion Eyes and starting with G major. Now we're going G major to what's called a G major 7. There's a variety of ways to do it. G major can be played with these three fingers, or we can actually use the little finger here. And then the next chord, which is G major 7, we simply release the little finger and we bring down the first finger to the second fret on the first string. And that's your G major 7 from coming off with the little finger in G major. So that'll be like this. Right? That's really not my favorite way of doing it. I like to actually do the G major like this. And then what I do is I slide this finger back, kind of tucking it underneath. So I'm just bringing it like that, and there's my G major 7. So it's really easy for me to do that. The trick is not dragging this finger back into that fret when you slide the third finger back. So you want to make sure and keep this one where it's supposed to be on the G note. So it'll sound like this, a measure of each with a very, very common straight up and down strumming pattern with 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now, what I do to give the strumming pattern a flavor is I accent on the 2 and the 4 beat. So when you're looking at drums, the bass drum starts on 1 and then it goes on 3. And what we have is a snare drum on 2 and 4. So we have the bass drum, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I'm doing is starting on 1 on the top, or the thick part, the thick strings of the top of the chord, so it's more bassy. And then what I do is I accent on the 2 and the 4 on the bottom of the thin strings, so we get more of a variety or more of a dynamics within the song. So what I'm doing is on and I'll actually go back up on the top 3 strings on the end beat. So we have 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So we're not just kind of boring where it sounds really mechanical. What we're doing is giving it some flow, giving it dynamics by staying on the top part of the chord, then accenting on the bottom part. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then I make them switch to G major 7, sliding that finger back. So it sounds like this. That way I really hear that F sharp note from the G, which is the important note for the melody of G major 7, which is that very, very pleasant sounding chord. And then we go to C major for 2 measures. So again, I want to stay away from the top string. C major is a 5-string chord. So I'm really precise where I start on the top of the chord, and again I accent on the bottom of the chord. And then I go to A minor, and again I'm doing that same kind of strumming pattern for every chord. Now it's kind of hard to stay away from the top string. It actually fits in with an A minor, but a thick, more lower frequency note drowns out the higher ones. So what we want to do is you can cheat by bringing your thumb over and bumping that top string when you don't need it when you're playing a 5-string chord like A minor. Or be very precise over here, because in the beginning you might not have that flexibility to put the thumb over like that. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So we have G major for one measure. A measure is 4 beats in a measure in 4/4 time, what's called common time. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Then A minor for a full measure, 1, 2 and 3 and 4, and then D7. So D7 is kind of a bluesy chord, comes from the Mixolydian mode. Here's our D major, and it's very similar, just one note different. Instead of this note, we have our C note instead of the D note, and then we play like that. So just make sure you can see that in the camera. So there's the D7, right? So you have G major 7, C major, A minor, and D7. And that's the introduction. For the verse, there's 3 verses in a row. And again, it's G major to G major 7, to C major for 2 measures, to A minor for 1 measure, and then we do what's called A minor 7. We drop off the 3rd finger, so we have that G string very open, and that gives that chord that incredible melody. And then we go to D major, and then D7, and then back to G. So I'll play it for you. So it's 1 measure G major first. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 2 measures of C major, 1, 2, and 3, 4. A minor, A minor 7. D major, D7. G major, G major 7. C major for 2. We're starting the next verse. G major 7, C major for 2, A minor for 1, A minor 7, D major, D7, back to G major 7, C major for 2, have it. So in the beginning there's 3 verses in a row. In between the 2nd verse and the 3rd verse, he actually goes, he's coming out of the 2nd verse and he's doing 2 measures of G major. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's actually doing 1 measure G major, and then he goes to C for half of a measure and D7 for half of a measure. So it sounds like this in between the verses, in between verse 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it starts over for verse 3. So that's Lion Eyes by the Eagles. It's a really, really good acoustic song to play. Really good campfire song. And it's really not that tough. Remember that strumming pattern of dynamics, playing from the top strings to the bottom of the chord, and it will have much better flow sound to it. So there you go. Peace, everyone.